This is Rhonda Brooks of Farm Journal Media, and I'm at Corn College in Hayworth, Illinois, and I'm talking to Larry Steckel, the University of Tennessee Extension Weed Specialist. And Larry, you've been talking about weed issues that you're seeing in your neck of the woods. Tell us a little bit about what you've been talking to growers about today.
Well, we've got folks here from a lot of states, and so I've been just trying to fill them in on kind of where we are right now in managing a lot of our glyphosate-resistant weeds. I've primarily been keying on the two big ones, which would be mare's tail or Palmer pigweed. And then we have a lot of Midwestern folks here, so I try and compare and contrast Palmer pigweed to water hemp because there's a lot of similarities between the two in the issues we have trying to control them.
You know, I seeing your slides, you've really got some serious problems in the Mid-South, but you know, how, from your travels, what have you seen here in the Midwest?
Yeah, Rhonda, one thing I guess it's kind of striking to me is that when I drove up here is you readily see a lot of water hemp in a lot of these soybean fields, and you know, spots here and there, the occasional field that's got maybe more than that in it. And it reminded me of where we were in Tennessee in 2006, 2007, and why that's a marked thing in my mind is in 2008 and 2009, we started having just overwhelming pigweed populations in a lot of our fields. So it looked to me like the progression here, at least in Illinois, particularly southern Illinois, they very well, you know, next year, and surely the year after that, are going to have some big pigweed levels in a lot of these fields they're going to have to try and manage.
Is that partly due to the seed bank, or is it weather? I heard you say that pigweed loves hot weather.
Yeah, I think that contributes a lot to it. Whether it's water hemp or Palmer pigweed, they get first dibs on water. They also get first dibs on nitrogen, the two most limiting things we run into. And in a year like this, where basically, you know, our crops shut down in the high 80s, low 90s, depending on the crop, you get Palmer pigweed particularly, but even water hemp, they're going to photosynthesize and keep right on going into the high 90s. So it's really right in their wheelhouse, and they'll grow away from a crop in 2 to 3 days.
They'll grow away from a crop in 2 to 3 days? Like how much?
You know, it's 2 inches a day. Mid-June to July with these temperatures and water is easy for them. And when you got the other crop basically not growing at all, 2 or 3 days, and basically you got water hemp or Palmer pigweed in our neck of the woods that the Flex Stars and the Cobras and the Blazers, it's too big for them to control just in a 2 to 3 day window. So that's a huge issue, and that's where we are with Palmer pigweed in the South. We got such a narrow window to try and get good control. And I'm afraid that's kind of where they're starting to be here in the Midwest too. And then you look at this year, it's been dry. We've not been able to get any of the pre's to work, so we're totally relying on these post-emergence herbicides. And so you're putting more selection pressure up here in the Midwest on Roundup, and it's obviously missing more than what I can recall just a year or two ago. And then, you know, I know they're trying to follow up with a lot of the PPO herbicides in a lot of cases, and it's just too big for them.
Okay. Well, here we are in the end of July. What do you recommend? I mean, can guys do anything at this point?
There's not a lot you can do at this point, especially since a lot of it's even hardened off. So unless you can get some willing folks to go out there with some hose and chop, that's about all you can do. And then just maybe start thinking about managing for next year, and
okay.
Looking at maybe rotating corn into a field that was bad, or maybe you got a cornfield that's got, and we've seen some of that around too, with a lot of pigweed in cornfield. You may need to rotate it into soybeans, and then, you know, use some different herbicides, some different technology. Maybe, you know, look at using the Liberty Link system and getting them on some of these fields that Roundup's obviously not working now.
All right. Well, Larry, I appreciate your time, and thank you.
Oh yeah, thank you, Rhonda.